Welcome to today's presentation on Updox for Amazing Charts. My name is Katie Lashy, and I'll be walking you through an overview this afternoon. Thanks so much for joining me. I am the Director of Sales Operations here at Updox. I've been with the company a little more than 4 years, so I've had a great experience kind of getting to know our customer base and helping align them with some of the great solutions that we have to offer. You've probably noticed that the phone lines have been muted as we're recording today's presentation, and we will be distributing that recording as well as the slides to all registrants after the event. So if someone has to hop off early or jumps on late, you can absolutely catch up with that recorded presentation. We will take questions at the end of today's presentation, which you can type and submit using the question section on your GoToWebinar panel. So as the questions come up, feel free to type them in there, and we'll get through as many as we can at the end of the presentation today. So to give everyone a little bit of background about Updox, I'm sure we have listeners on that are very familiar with us and not so familiar with us. So I want to make sure I give you a full picture. We are your partner for meaningful use when it comes to the secure patient portal and direct secure messaging. But we do so much more than that for Amazing Charts users and for independent physicians alike. So we are a communications platform. We got our start about 8 years ago. A doctor named Andy Barbash was frustrated with the fax solutions or communication solutions available to doctors. So the rest of the world moved forward with the ease of email and quick, immediate conversation that you could have. And unfortunately, with HIPAA, physicians were limited in their ability to work smarter or quicker as technology kind of allows for. So he was frustrated by that. And what we did was create a secure integrated fax solution that works great for independent physicians so that you benefit from some of the easy communication that the rest of the world is able to take advantage of. From there, we got our start with some of the legislation involved around meaningful use stages 1 and 2 and some of the requirements that physicians were kind of held to, and we kind of became a partner that way as well. Through the course of all of that, we've been able to help more than 40,000 providers today, and we have more than 250,000 users, and that grows every single day. We have more than 70 different partner integrations, and we help serve more than 50 million patients, which is about 18% of the U.S. population. So while we got our start with that doctor's idea 8 years ago, we've really built built up from that foundation since then. And what we seek to do with our solutions is be a single source for both patient and provider communication so that practices can solve some of the more painful workflows from a single application, single partner, single window that works really, really well with your EMR. So we hope to kind of level the playing field. As a partner, we're constantly challenging ourselves to align with our customers' primary goals. So the way that we see it, you'd like to improve the care provided to your patients, and you also have to be mindful of the bottom line. You have to maintain a budget and cut unnecessary costs wherever possible, whether that's time savings or hard cost savings. Technology absolutely comes in handy when trying to streamline processes, but there's a threshold where too many partners, too many systems can actually hinder your productivity. We've heard the struggle of maximizing and minimizing 4 different windows to accomplish one simple workflow. So what Updox hopes to solve for practices is solving more than one thing inside of a single application that's web-based, integrated, one partner, one point of support, all of that good stuff. So again, just helping level the playing field. What kind of problems can we help you solve? So what problems am I talking about? Solving the problem of paperwork and faxing, how much time and inefficiency there is in that current process when you've moved to an electronic record and you still have paper-based processes going on. We help solve some of the phone tag. It can take as much as 3 to 4 attempts to connect with a patient to confirm the need for an appointment or get them scheduled for an appointment or let them know about results. So we solve for that. We help get patients to their appointments and keep your schedule predictable because no-shows are absolutely frustrating and costly. And we help you with patient loyalty year over year by making it easy for them and convenient for them to communicate easily with you. We also help solve the burden of meaningful use and other requirements that are continually thrown at you. We help you satisfy the growing needs of chronic care patients. By offering these solutions, we can help physicians remain independent and financially viable, and help you build a trusted referral network, which kind of lends to that independent and financially viable piece as well. So in short, we help you do more with less. The practices that we speak to typically run with just a few providers inside of the office, or one provider in the office and 1 to 2 help staff, whether that's front desk, whether it's nurses. What we help you do is manage your workflow a little bit easier so that your smaller staff can focus on care-based activities rather than administrative. The 2 areas that we focus on are patient engagement and practice optimization. So on the engagement side, we do reminders, relationship development, payments, care management, and scheduling. And on the optimization side, we do digital referral processes and care coordination, patient lab and prescription coordination, and our office communication. We offer really great remote clinic access since our application is web-based, accessible anywhere with the internet, and we are 100% HIPAA compliant when it comes to the communication tools we offer. More specifically, the solutions that we're able to provide on the practice optimization side would be document management, which integrates to your EMR, and digital faxing, so helping practices go paperless and improve efficiency, as well as the direct provider email for secure peer-to-peer communication. On the patient engagement side, more specifically, we assist Amazing Charts practices with the patient portal, so online scheduling, customizable forms, demographic updates, patient payments, and then we also offer the ability to remind patients about their appointments and send targeted notifications by phone, text, or email if you needed to get the word out about a closure or an immunization clinic or something of that nature. And we'll talk more specifically about those use cases a bit later. Where do you access this information? So thanks to our integration with Amazing Charts, there is a secure button right inside of your main dashboard that will launch our web-based inbox. So you could get there without having to type in a username or password. But also, you might be limited if you're a server-based installation of Amazing Charts and you can only access the chart from within the practice. You might want access to faxes or your schedule on the go. So what's great about Updox is that not only are we able to be launched from that secure button, but you can also open Updox on your phone or on your home computer and log in with your username and password so that it's still secure, but you have that information more readily available to you on the go. What that button will launch, or what you'll see if you go to updox.com and log in, is this web-based inbox. So we intentionally situated this a lot like an email inbox so that it's super user-friendly. You'll see your newer messages on top, your older messages down below, and you can click to open and expand and take action on these things. We've also color-coded and labeled the different types of message so that it's easy to differentiate a portal message or an appointment cancellation from an incoming or outgoing fax. Talking about fax first today, what Updox Electronic Fax makes it easy to do is review, split, and combine pages. You can sign and edit date using our full-scale editor, which I'll show you here in a moment. We can do simultaneous actions, so you can fax out and file to the chart at the same time. And it's web-based again, so no hardware, software, or IT support required. From a steps perspective, if you're currently on a paper-based process, the steps that you might be following would include grabbing documents off of the printer, routing them around the office, removing the cover sheet, getting any signatures or edits you needed, and then faxing it out, grabbing that transmission report, and then scanning it back into the chart so that it's a part of the electronic record. With Updox, it's much, much simpler. You can log into your web-based application. The fax is already going to be secure and digital. You can review it. It's a shared inbox, so you could even share the burden of reviewing faxes if you have a few support staff available. It's really easy to break apart pages if you need to omit a cover sheet or if you get a fax that has a couple different patients involved. You also have the ability to edit or sign, and then you can send. You can send it right to the patient's chart. You can send it back out as a fax. You can send it to the patient portal, or you can actually do all of these things together or pick and choose a few of them. So we use one universal sending screen so that if you do need to do 3 different things with a document, maybe you want to file it, you want to fax it, and you want to send it to the portal, you can do all of those things from one single screen. This is kind of a blown up view of the inbox and what happens when you expand those panels. So you'll notice there's a thumbnail preview for each page within the fax, and you're able to mouse over those thumbnails to quick preview it, determine next steps. We have customizable tags available, so if you wanted to tag things by urgency or type of document or who needs to handle them, you have the ability to set that up as well. And then from there, choosing what to do with a document, you can hit send item, and by default it'll grab all of the pages in the transmission, or you can pick and choose your pages. So if you wanted to omit a cover sheet, or if you had 2 patients involved in one single document, or needed to go to 2 different chart sections, you can kind of pick and choose your pages that way and then send to the chart. If you had a need to sign or edit the document, we also have a full-scale editor, so clicking on these thumbnail previews is going to bring you there, where you're able to type notes, freehand draw, erase or redact, highlight. There's a one-click signature, which providers really enjoy because they can kind of sign things on the go. You also have a time and date stamp, and then checkboxes, because we tried to think through anything that you might need when editing something electronically. Another great use case for Updox is if you have a form that you send often, you can keep a blank copy on your desktop and just drag it into the Updox inbox, fill it in using our editor, even sign it using the editor, and then send out from there. So just another idea for a workflow that practices really enjoy. When sending to the patient's chart, this is really where our integration comes into play, because you can type in the name of the patient and we'll find them and confirm them with their date of birth inside of Amazing Charts. And then from here, the fields are going to match what would happen if you were importing to the imported item section. So you're going to have a subject. These categories correspond with your Amazing Charts installation. You can notify the doctor if you're not the doctor, or if you are the doctor, you can actually sign off on it as well. There's also a search for additional contacts or users field in the top right corner, and that's where if you wanted to fax out at the same time, you can go ahead and type in a fax number there. Now, if I wanted to send this to the portal as well, just below that circle there's a portal button, and that would open another little cover sheet for me so that I could be faxing, filing, and sending to the portal all at the same time. The other arrow I wanted to draw attention to is at the bottom of the screen. The little thumbnail previews actually follow you to the sending screen, so that if you're faxing and filing hundreds of documents each day, you can kind of mouse over and remind yourself what's the date of birth, or when was this lab draw taken, just by mousing over the little thumbnail preview without having to page back. Since I know that you do a lot of volume type things, it's a nice reminder there. Outbound faxing. So if you do type in a fax number, or if this only needed to go out as a fax, you'd simply type in the name of the contact or the 10-digit number that you wanted to send to. And then you have the same kind of subject line available for faxing. You can use templates to do custom notes as you're faxing out. So what we provide for you out of the box is a custom cover sheet that has your practice name, practice number, name and number of the place you're faxing to. But if you wanted to doctor that up a bit and add more information there, you certainly have the ability to tailor that to your practice needs. You also have the ability to have more than one cover sheet, so that if you had a drop down there with a few different cover sheets by purpose, that's an option as well. In addition to having the ability to have those out of the box cover sheets, you can also create templates for that note section on the cover sheet. So if you find that you're rekeying the same note over and over again, go ahead and create a template for it, and then it's 2 clicks instead of 50 keystrokes. So just a quick little note to help save you time there. Fax failure. So this is an unfortunate reality for independent physicians, because not everyone has moved to Updox. They're still using paper-based fax machines. They're still throwing up busy signals when they're receiving big transmissions. So what we do is proactively notify you if a fax fails for any reason by giving you a fax failed notification at the top of your inbox. Additionally, you can go to the sent box at any point in time, similar to an email sent box, and we're going to show you all fax transmissions. We're also going to show you all portal messages, all chart imports, and then there's a search window where you can type in the name of the patient or the name of the contact that you sent to, and we'll pull up all of the documents that pertain to those things. So if you come across not only a fax failure, so we do try the 5 times industry standard to get it out the door, but if you don't get a fax failure and they call you 3 days later and say they misplaced what you sent, what you can do is type in the fax number, recall that fax, and then with a few quick clicks, you can actually resend it. So what we hear from practices all the time is that they're doing duplicative work, because if someone didn't receive the fax the first time, they have to take all of the same steps to compile it to send the second time. So Updox makes it really easy for you to just quickly send out. This audit trail also makes it really easy if you can't figure out what happened to a document, as far as chart imports, or if you can't remember what you sent to the patient portal, you can find all of that stuff in this sent box as well. From a financial perspective, for every 5,000 pages, speaking to practices, it sounds like they spend about $150, which doesn't seem like it could possibly be the case. But the factors that practices don't always consider is the cost of things like toner. So $72 is a pretty standard rate for a fax or a toner cartridge for like a Brother fax machine. So a very common practice fax machine. We've also heard as much as $50 for a case of paper. Some practices are spending $20 to $40 for a fax line. So those costs certainly mount up and aren't always front of mind when you come to think about what you're spending on faxes. From a time perspective, assuming it takes just 2 minutes per fax and each fax is just a few pages long, it could take staff as much as 55 hours to manage 5,000 fax pages. So what Updox offers to do is save you at least half of that time when it comes to managing those faxes. And we can also save you $155 in supplies, which mounts to $7,000 annually, just by moving away from a process that's extremely painful for your practice as well. The next solution I wanted to talk about today was patient messaging and reminders. What reminders helps practices do is make their schedule more predictable by eliminating and reducing the no-show rate. It also takes your staff off the phone so they're not making those reminders calls or chasing reschedules. It helps you backfill canceled appointment slots and squeeze patients in as needed as well. From an ROI perspective, the typical practice experiences a no-show rate of 7%. So that means if you have 100 appointments on your schedule each week, which is pretty standard for a single provider, 7 of them are going to no-show. Considering $90 for a reimbursement and $20 to $25 for a copay, that's going to cost your practice $115 in lost revenue for each appointment, which will roll up to $800 weekly, almost $42,000 annually. And what Updox is able to do with this reminder solution is reduce that no-show rate by as much as 30%, which ends up putting another $12,500 back into your practice. One way we differentiate our reminder solution is that you're able to use up to 3 reminders for each appointment. So you could send a phone call, a text message, and an email to try and get the patient to that appointment. You could also double down on any of those methods. So if you just want to do 3 text messages because you have a really tech-savvy population, you can do it that way, or you can do 3 calls. And what's nice is that it syncs with your schedule. In terms of setting those up, you would choose inside of our admin menu, super simple, just a few minutes to set up. You would choose the method of the reminder you wanted to send, the time frame when you wanted to send it, and then the script that you wanted to be used as it's going out. You can do human voice scripts with Updox or computer voice. You can also type your own or use our library of scripts when it comes to text or emails. Just to kind of show you what that drum up would look like and kind of a nice feature, if you type in the message that you'd like to go out as a text, or if you select one from our library, you can actually preview it right within the app so that you know what your patient is going to experience. You also have the ability to call yourself and listen to the message so that, again, you understand what your patient's experience would be. We have done a bit more development since our initial launch, so if you're not familiar with that, I did want to mention that we now have the ability to recognize different locations, so you could do different appointment reminders per location, and we could also do different reminders per appointment type. So if you have certain appointments where they need to fast ahead of time, we have the ability to accommodate that as well. Now, if a patient cancels their appointment, We will proactively notify you with an appointment cancellation notice right inside of the Updox inbox. We'll also update the note on the appointment inside of Amazing Charts. But then if you wanted to look kind of on a larger scale at confirmations and cancellations, or people who aren't responding to you that you might need to call ahead of their appointment, you do have this dashboard right within the app too. And another use case for this, which is kind of neat, if you're server-based and you can't see your schedule unless you're looking at your practice computer, you could log on to Updox from home and hop into your reminders dashboard to get visibility into what your schedule looks like the next day or the next week as well. From a reporting perspective, you can also report on your patient population at large. So you could find out how many cancellations you typically have in a week so that you can set the expectation for a patient that's trying to be squeezed in. You can also set the expectation to double book yourself if you know that you have a high no-show rate. You can also look to see what your patients are most responsive to, whether it's phone calls, texts, or emails, and then really easy change your strategy to send more of one or the other. So a really nice reporting feature here. This next solution works really well and kind of goes hand in hand with reminders, and that's targeted messaging. So in addition to reading your schedule and sending messages based on that, you're also able to send phone, text, and email messages on demand, and portal messages as well, for Amazing Charts too. So if you had a message you wanted to get out to your whole patient base, for instance, you could use Updox to do that. We've also seen practices use it to wish patients happy birthday once a month, to thank patients who came in last week for visiting the practice, to alert patients of office closures or drive attendance to immunization clinics. All really great use cases for this solution. And even getting beyond the patient relationship management part of it, if you have contacts in your Rolodex that you want to get the word out to, maybe your referral network, you could actually load in messages to send to them too. So you could just shoot them a quick text once a month thanking them for your relationship, or let people know that you have a new practice opening near them. That sort of thing can be used for Blast as well. So both for patients and for contacts. Now, when sending a Blast message, you would basically select your method, whether it's an email, a portal, telephone, or text. You would compose your message, and you could even create templates for this too, so if you're sending the same thing over and over. And then you would select the list that you want to send it to, and then send it out the door. Now, from a reporting perspective, we're also going to show you what Blast messages have gone out and what the outcome was. So if you sent a message to, if you sent your message out and you want to make sure that everyone got the notice that you're going to be closed tomorrow, but you see that 2 people had an unsuccessful status in that message delivery, then you'd have 2 people to call instead of 30 people to call to let them know about cancellations. In addition to the out-of-the-box lists that are available for this too, by the way, so you could do males, females, certain age groups. You can also pick and choose using our custom list builder. So you could select age groups. You could select certain pages just by typing their names in. A really great use case for this would be if you have 5 cancellations that you want to get back on the schedule, you can build a custom list of those 5 people and then send a text message or send a call or send an email to them asking them to get back on the schedule. So that's probably one of the most common use cases for Blast, is getting no-shows and cancellations back on the schedule. The reason that that's so popular is because one copay on behalf of one patient would actually pay for Blast for the entire month 3 times over. So just an easy use case there. Another really great use case would be increasing participation in immunizations. So if you have 3,000 patients on the average physician panel and you get $30 reimbursement for each flu shot administered, if we were able to increase the instance of flu shots administered by 10%, that could put as much as $9,000 back into your practice budget just using Blast messaging for that. So that's kind of an overview of some of the solutions kind of getting beyond the portal for Updox for Amazing Charts. I did want to talk about some of the solution suite side that we have available. So some of you might be using the Amazing Charts patient portal powered by Updox. If you don't have that yet, it's free and it's a really, really great tool to communicate with patients. What it's going to let you do is send and receive messages securely, export clinical summaries for MU requirements, and then we also provide you with the direct secure email free of charge through that bundle. So you can exchange secure email with other providers, which is another requirement. And as a part of that too, you have access to a directory of more than 1 million providers' direct secure email addresses. So that dream phone book type thing that you've all been waiting for direct secure email is available within Updox, even in the free version, which is really, really great for you. Now, I said requirement a lot just then, but the MU required components are just the tip of the Updox iceberg, as you've probably seen through today's presentation. As your partner, in addition to keeping you compliant and keeping those reimbursements as high as possible, we also work really hard to help you run more efficiently. And Updox Connect and Updox Engage solution suites are kind of how we do that. Both solutions are going to provide the benefit of practice optimization and the ability to engage your patients and sustain your practice. But let's talk through some of the differences between them. So what Updox Connect would allow you to do is take advantage of the integrated electronic faxing, the direct secure messaging, the audit trails, the integration, the editor. We offer free onboarding and training for all new customers, free technical support. And all of that is in addition to the Updox patient portal additional features of secure messaging, online scheduling, patient payments, customizable forms. And then going beyond that, you also have the ability to take advantage of Updox Engage, which is going to give you all of that great stuff in addition to the ability to send reminder notifications, 3 per appointment, send targeted messages to patients, send messages in foreign languages with location awareness, human voice, all of that good stuff is available with the Updox Engage solution. And our sales development reps will be following up after today's event to kind of talk you through what those solutions would look like for your practice and determine what would be the best fit for you. It's actually a really great opportunity. So what happens kind of post-event is that our sales development reps get in touch with you, find out what you thought of today's presentation, see if there's any need to speak with a product expert, whether it's to talk through workflows or get a custom pricing quote. And those sales development reps actually schedule that out for our product experts so that you have the opportunity to sit with them, which is great because rather than watching a couple webinars, reading some of the marketing emails, they can kind of give you a top to bottom about Updox, which is helpful for your time, as I know you're all very, very busy. That being said, we don't ever want you to just take our word for it here. Carrie Jewett is one of our longtime customers. She's had the opportunity to take advantage of each and every solution as they've come out, from everything from just the integrated fax to the patient portal, which is really, really leveraged to save practice time when it comes to tracking down patients, scheduling appointments. I think those are some of the more exciting parts of the Updox solution for her. And then most recently, moving forward with reminders and blast, again, is an easy way to communicate with patients. And we have a library of these user stories. So find out how individual practices, independent physicians are leveraging our technology. What did they say about implementation? What have they seen from an ROI perspective? We keep those types of things handy too, as I know that that's super valuable to know how others in your network are using it. Now, what they are able to see when putting all these solutions together from an ROI perspective is that the no-show rate, reducing that no-show rate, again, can save your practice as much as $12,500 per year. Blast messaging can bring an additional $9,000 to your practice each year. And then going paperless with your faxing can save your practice as much as $7,000 per year. So the total value of all of those things combined through our Connect and Engage platforms amounts to more than $28,000, which is a 17 times payback on the investment for Updox. So what's also great about Updox is that we're a month-to-month solution with no contracts, and we keep things affordable for our end users. We also offer a trial period so that if you wanted to move up to Connect or Engage to see if it's a fit for your practice before committing, you can do that. We're month to month even from there. So if you decide a month or two down the line that it's not a fit for you, you're able to cancel anytime, which is great value for the customer too because it keeps us on the hook to keep you happy. We offer free training and free technical support for the extent of your customership with us. And for participating in today's event, we have a special seasonal promotion here. So if you register for that trial or to become a paying customer by July 14th using promo code INFERNO, we're offering 30% off of the base fee for the first 3 months as a customer. So a really great time to get started there. As I mentioned, our sales development reps will be following up with registrants after the event, but if you wanted to contact us directly, there's our phone number and our email address there too. And now I will go ahead and hop into the question section. Again, if you have any questions, type them in the question section on the right side of your GoToWebinar panel. I have a quick question about targeted messaging. Can targeted messages be sent as phone calls too? Yes, so blast messaging would include the ability to, for Amazing Charts users, send a message to all of your patient portal accounts. So it could be a portal blast message. It could be a message to your, by phone or by text message or by email as well. Now, the other kind of neat thing about the portal message is that when you send a message to the portal, you can actually have PHI within that message. So if you wanted to pull a list of 15 chronic care patients that are due for eye exams, you could build a custom list and send them a portal message alerting them to that. And what'll happen every time you send a message to the portal, if they have an email address on file, the email address gets a notice that says, hey, this patient or this practice sent you a message, log in here to review it. And then the patient logs in, reads the information, and it's all 100% HIPAA compliant. So that's a definite educational content or chronic care use case for the blast messaging through the portal. But yes, to answer your question more simply, we do have the ability to do phone calls. I have a question about fax numbers. You can actually have as many fax numbers as you need with Updox. Oftentimes practices will come in with an existing number and we can port it or call forward to the Updox number to get everything coming in digitally without leaving that number behind. But we do offer a number upon registration that practices could use outright as well if they don't have an established line yet. Another thing that practices do, because additional lines with Updox are just $2 per line per month, we see a lot of physicians want a personal or a private fax number since it is so affordable. So they'll have the practice fax number and they'll have their own fax number that they can use with Updox, and they're the only ones able to send and receive through that number. So we can support that workflow too. Or if you have multiple locations with a fax number per each, we can split that out as well. And I think that's all I have for questions here. Thank you again for joining me this afternoon. Again, we'll be sending the presentation recording as well as the slides around after the event, and I hope you have a great afternoon.